we got Melissa here, Melissa Dawson out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, actually from where I'm from. I talked to her a while back, and she owns Online Solar Experts. And yeah, so this is episode number 3. We've done 2 others, so I appreciate you taking the time and doing this with me. So first off, I wanted to just let you kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit of backstory of who you are, what you're currently doing, and what the solar industry has done for your life.
Great. Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. So I got in the solar business back in 2016. Prior to that, I was in corporate America running large sales teams for some of the biggest liquor importers, throwing epic parties all around the world, having a really good time. But I just knew in my heart that I really wanted to do something bigger and more impactful for the planet, other than just give people a really good time and a hangover. So I decided to dip into the solar industry. I quickly learned, living up in North Idaho, that energy is extremely cheap, and there was no real ROI to go solar. So I told everybody, I'm going to sell solar online. And of course, everybody laughed at me and said, you can't sell solar online. You can only sell it in the house. And I thought, you know what? If you can sell a mortgage online, why can't you save money with your electric bill online? You know? So, and for me, I wasn't ready to move because I love where I live, and location freedom was super important to me. So it really just became a numbers game of perfecting it over and over and over. And luckily, being involved in a lot of great masterminds along the way have really helped me perfect that skill set, and to where I now have my own company, Online Solar Experts, and we coach and mentor people how to sell solar every day online.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, and I do appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge. Obviously, you're one of the people that I've been wanting to get on here for a while. The main thing that we're trying to do with the mastermind group is to bring value to people, not charging them anything to be a part of the group. Somebody that's in the industry that can give them value in many different ways, right? The first episode we did was doing how to do referrals, right? That was with Matthew Crofter. The second episode was more of the door knocking and ability to do training on the doors with Danny Pesci, one of the best guys on the doors. He's got over 10 years experience on the doors. And now with you, you're going to go over some stuff as far as being able to do stuff online, closing online, maybe a little bit of tips and tricks that we can use. But before we get into that, what kind of masterminds have you been a part of? And can you explain a little bit to the people that are watching why a mastermind can be beneficial?
Yeah, definitely. So I first off think masterminds are so important, because the more people that we all help go solar, the easier our job is. I look at solar a lot like bicycle helmets. Back in the day, nobody wore them. Now solar is going to be that. One day, like, everybody's going to be like, whoa, you don't have solar? And I look at that there's just an abundance of leads out there. I fly in airplanes all the time, and I just look down and I'm like, wow, a lot of houses that need solar. So I really think that the more that we can work together as a community within the solar industry to really help educate and help take our skill sets to the next level is so important. A real life-changing mastermind for me was with Bill Murphy and the Solar Cheat Code. He really helped me, define myself, branding myself, and then the community within those masterminds with just some of the most high-level solar entrepreneurs. So we do a mastermind. I'm actually in Encinitas today, outside of San Diego, with a bunch of other solar people, and we work on, different stuff like marketing ideas in LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, and then also honing in our skill sets with how do we sell online, and again, solar entrepreneurs that work for multiple companies, because that's where we're all just here to help each other out.
No, yeah, I agree with you there. That it's just such a big thing. And just to kind of reference a couple books that I personally have read and I really kind of resonate with is like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And then also a newer one that was released is called Outwitting the Devil. And Matthew Crofter and we talked a little bit about it in the first episode. But it really talks about how there's so much abundance in the world, especially when it comes to the solar industry, that high tide rises all ships. And that's the main idea, is we want to be able to give value to people because we know it's going to come back to us. It's all part of the universe, good sending out good vibes, getting back good vibes. So I really appreciate you sharing with it, no expectations, because it's obviously going to come back to you. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit of training, some stuff that maybe you're going to want to share as far as what has made you successful being able to sell online, not having to be in the market where you're up in Northern Idaho and you're selling in these other markets. You can kind of go in as much depth as you would like on that.
Okay, great. So a couple key points is, generally speaking, you're going to call the lead first. You're not just getting somebody straight into a Zoom, So
Right.
I have found for most people that I work with, their success rate becomes much higher if they have an area code that matches the area they're calling in. So I'm lucky. I somehow have really good success rate and without doing that. But I honestly think it's our 208 number. It was like the same thing when I noticed you called me. And I think people are always like, whoa, 208, where is that? But other people, especially, I'm just going to say the people in California, they've got to go get a Google Voice number and get a different phone number. There, it's just interesting to watch the success level go up when the phone numbers match where they're calling into. And then the next part that I can really give advice on is that I call it the heart of the sell. So you have 30 seconds to get into that homeowner's heart. I would compare it probably to a lot of people that go door knocking, that what's that first impression right when that person opens the door. And when you're selling online and when you're talking online, it has to be that same feeling that you're transferring, that greeting them at the door and then eventually, getting to go into their home. You're doing the same thing with them over the phone. I'll even sometimes, after we get through the first conversation, sometimes then I'll even have them like text me different pictures of their house. So then they're now participating in it,
Okay.
So I'll have them go take a picture of their outside of their house so I can see the roof line. I'll have them take a picture of their panel, because that's, again, creating that kind of relationship. So I really educate them and become their friends on that first phone call. So then when I'm taking them into the Zoom, which I generally try to always do the next day at about the same time, because then I know that they're available. But then when I take them into the Zoom, then we have the real face-to-face. And then for the Zoom, I always call it an energy savings report. I always make sure to tell the people that the numbers may or may not make sense for you, but there's only one way to find out, and that's to grab that electric bill with that, I always say, the little box with the graph in it, so now they have a mental image of the exact part of the bill that I need. And I let them know why I need that. I need to have your usage for the last 12 months so I can design a system for your year-round energy needs. Again, the numbers may or may not make sense for you. Only one way to find out. So those are the biggest things there, is really keeping it not salesy. You really became their friend in the first 30 seconds. And now you're just here as an expert energy consultant to see if you can help them save money.
So a quick question on that. How long does the initial call on the phone last? And what type of things are you using to become their friend?
So it's usually about 5 or 10 minutes. I call it a discovery call. So I'm introducing myself. I let them know that I help homeowners save money every day by evaluating if solar's right for them. What got them interested in looking to solar? Do they have friends or family with solar? Do their neighbors? A lot of times I'll look the lead up first on the internet so I can see and it looks like 2 houses down has solar, have you talked to them about it? What are their thoughts? And then once I get them through that group, then I say, do you know how much you pay for a kilowatt an hour? And I pause. They never know. And I say, no worries. I didn't know either until I became an energy consultant. I honestly just had it on auto pay, paid it, never wanted to look at it, out of sight, out of mind. Now, let me ask you this, Glenn. Do you know how much you pay for a gallon of gasoline?
Yeah, I pay like $3.
Right? So isn't that funny? We never know how much we pay for a kilowatt an hour because we assume there's no option. But yet we know how much we pay for a gallon of gasoline. On top of that, you got people like my mom. She'll go wait in a long line at Costco just to save 10 cents. Isn't that funny?
Right.
So then let me ask you this. If I were to give you a special card 20 years ago, Glenn, that you could have locked in the price of that gallon of gasoline for 20 years, How would you feel about that today?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Right? Isn't that? So solar is very similar. We're going to put a utility plan on your roof. We're going to lock in your energy rate, and you're going to have that for at least 20 years. You won't be subject to the rising cost of energy. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So you're using these little tie-ins and explanations of like trying to point them in the idea of, okay, you know what you're paying for gas, so why don't you know what you pay for power? And if you could save and lock it in, would you want to do that? So you're getting them to buy into the idea pretty much on that first call then.
Right. Because then what I can do is when we go with the numbers, because I always say, I talk about locking in that energy rate, because as we know in solar, sometimes we can't get their bill less than what it currently is. So
Right.
I didn't say, I didn't say, we're going to get your bill cheaper. I did not say that. I said, Glenn, how would you feel about locking that energy price in for 20 years? And I always use the gallon of gasoline analogy. My husband always jokes around with me, like, how many gallons of gasoline did you talk about today? But it really helps to get that mental image, I think, for them if they start looking at it compared to gallons of gasoline.
Right. No, that's awesome. So you do the introductory call, and then you try to get them on a call within the next little bit, but you're having them take a few pictures on that first call to get them even more committed, like they're a part of it. So
Yeah.
you're having them take a picture of their roof to make sure the roof's in good condition. You're having them take a picture of like their main breaker panel to make sure they're like above 100 amp panel, a newer panel.
Mm-hmm.
And then a copy of the power bill. Is that what you're doing on the discovery call?
And then the other thing that I always do is I make them commit to when they can give it to me. So Glenn, when we hang up the phone today, would you be able to go grab that picture from the front of your house so I can see your roof line? Would you be able to do that for me when we hang up the phone?
Yes.
Perfect. And then that electric bill, and make sure you've got to get me that graph so I see your each month usage. Can you get me that right when we hang up the phone?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Then what I'll do is I'll do up your energy savings report. Are you available tomorrow at this exact same time?
No, I'll be available at about 5.
5? Perfect. Then what we're going to do, are you familiar with the Zoom?
I've never used it before.
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'm going to send you an email with a link of how to use Zoom. And then what we're going to do, it's a video online conferencing. And then we're going to do that. That way we can actually see each other face to face, and we can review the numbers to see if they'll make sense for you. Again, they might not, but there's only one way to figure that out.
Okay. So that last little part, you're giving them some hope of like potentially you may be able to qualify for this. You're doing a takeaway. Not everybody qualifies. And then you're going back in to like, this could be a benefit for you, right? That's how you're ending the calls usually.
Correct. And I always make them commit to when they're giving me that bill, because then as a professional businesswoman, if they didn't follow through and give me the bill when they committed to, I'm going to follow up, because I didn't just say, and get me that bill. Because if I actually had a commitment from you of when you were going to get me that bill. Therefore, if I didn't get it, I can say something like, hey, Glenn, something with technology, I must not have gotten those pictures. Did you send them to me? You know? And then another thing that I often will do too is in between, after they send me that, I'll send them a video on net metering.
Okay.
So now I'm getting them in an educational standpoint, so that when we get on our Zoom together, that they're now coming educated. I'm not having to get in there and explain net metering. I sent them a video all about it.
Okay. And then you're also saying that like if I don't know how to use Zoom, you're going to text me like just a quick video on how to open it up and how to use Zoom then?
Yes. And I really hate to say something good came out of a global pandemic, but prior to the pandemic, telling people it's a video online conferencing, it was weird and difficult. So then I had to find these YouTube videos on how to do it, But then now with the pandemic, it's like people went from like taking Instagram pictures of themselves drinking with their friends to now they're drinking with their friends on Zoom,
Right.
So the Zoom has it's become a lot much simpler, I will just say.
Right. Yeah, no, I can see that. So so that's the introductory call. You're going over stuff that they need to know. You're giving them some links. You're getting them bought in on sending you the power bill, because without that, you're not going to be able to get the proposal done. You're doing some takeaways during that. And now when you get into the actual Zoom call, what would that look like? What does that process look like from the initial to actual presentation?
Well, as soon as they get on the Zoom, I'm looking for anything in their background or anything to like start a conversation with, or just again, that 30 seconds of that heart and cell. And then I start talking to them a little bit more about their energy needs. So then I say, let's take a look at your bill first. So this is how much you're paying a kilowatt an hour. And then do you see right here, your electric company is charging you a delivery fee. Can you believe that? That would be like if Amazon Prime one day just started charging you $30 to deliver you your new shoes, you know, like, isn't that disgusting that the utility company does that? And then, so what I'd start to do there, and I'll pull up their bill on the screen. So I always say that the first 30 seconds, the heart of the cell. Then the next part, you have to stab them in the heart with their electric bill. You have to really help them understand what is so horrible about their utility company. So you want to always make sure to do research on the utility company before you get in there, because every utility company has something bad about them. Google will help you find these. And then if I can, I'll even have an article about it. So then I'm now backing it up with solid facts. So once that's the key. So then we're really analyzing out their electric bill. Then we talk about their usage. So I'm like, this is how much you use right now. Any energy things that I need to know about? You know, are you planning on getting a hot tub, a pool, an electric vehicle? You know, have you recently done any upgrades with your windows? So really, again, always coming from not selling, but informing, because we're energy consultants. You know, we've spent a lot of time to understand energy, and now it's our job to help the homeowner understand energy as well.
Right. No, I like that a lot. So when you first get on the Zoom, you're mainly trying to kill the bill, right? So you're saying, hey, let's look at your bill after you've built a little bit of rapport, like, hey, how's the kids? It looks like you got a dog, whatever that may be. And then when you get into that, your main goal is to kill the bill with something that you can look up online. And if you're in a market that you know about really well, you can probably have that right on hand. But that's really important to build the emotion of why, what's in it for them? Why do they want to do this? Why do they want to get rid of their utility company? And then also when you're looking at the charges on there, you're talking about delivery charges. You're talking about the different things that are on there. You're figuring out what they're paying per kilowatt hour. Now, what would be the next step for you? Are you like transitioning into a proposal at this time, or?
Yeah, and then so usually what I do is when I start talking about the energy usage on my particular proposal, the tool that I use the most, it's through Stolo. It has a great graph on there where I can change their energy usage. So now they're first seeing now a blue graph and I'm like, so check this out. This is all of your energy. So let's talk about like next summer. Once you become energy independent, are you going to want to crank up the AC more than normal? You know, like I've seen a lot of people, they get really excited about being energy independent. And then all of a sudden the next year, their bill skyrocketed because they just got pretty excited. Is that you? Are you going to be that way? And then I'll adjust the graph in front of them so they can really start to see it. And then now they're visualizing it, because in all reality, they don't care that much about what the panel is, what the inverter is. They're really caring about how much money am I going to save? How am I going to be energy independent? So I really focus on that. Once we can move past that, then I'll show them their house, you know, and I always make sure to let them know, you know, don't get attached to where these panels are, because this is all I could really do from a satellite image. We'll know the exact panel and we'll have engineer drawings after what a process we call site survey, you know. So I'm always trying to set proper expectations for, as you know, in the solar industry, the fun projects, hiccups that might come along the way.
Right. Under promise, over deliver. That's always a smart idea. So, okay, perfect. So you're after you kill the bill, you're going into talking to them about what's happening with their system specifically, where the panels are going to be at. And then what's getting them to move forward on this? Are you able to like?
And then the
do
next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show them right now. This is, remember when we talked about the rising cost of energy? And then
right.
we talked about that special card that would have locked your gallon of gasoline in. So right now you're currently paying 12 cents a kilowatt an hour. If we go on just the national average of 4% a year, and then I've got the little graph that I can slide it along. This is what you'll pay for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So if I can lock your energy rate in today at less than what you're currently paying, are you ready to go solar with us?
So that's your closing.
And then they're like, well, yeah, what is it? And then I'm like, well, the good news is I've got you down to 11 cents a kilowatt an hour. So we're already beating your current price. 20 years, you're locking in this price. You're becoming energy independent. So I'd start talking to them about that. And then from there, I usually go into the financing so we can kind of talk about what financing is going to work best for them. And then I talk a little bit about the federal tax credit. And then where I go get my referrals is I say, so the great thing about this tax credit, I'm not a certified accountant, but if you can use this, you can use it for whatever you want, but on month 19, you have to understand that your bill will go up, because the bill's assuming you're using this, but maybe you're excited that you're only paying 0.99%, so now you want to go pay off an expensive credit card or a car, do a kitchen remodel. You can do whatever you want with that. So what we can do here, Glenn, is right now your federal tax credit is showing around $10,000. I pay $1,000 for every referral. So you only have to give me 10 referrals that go solar. Now you're keeping that tax credit, paying off your expensive credit card. You're getting to keep your payment here. Better yet, Glenn, why don't we can go and do only 20 referrals. And now you've almost paid off your entire system. That's your true energy independence. So I kind of transition them into thinking in their head about that, saving money. What are they going to do? Do they want to go on vacation with that federal tax credit? Getting my ideas in their head of what they would use with the federal tax credit. And then I always use, when I'm grabbing my referrals, the word only. Like it's only 10 referrals. No big deal.
Okay, awesome. So you're using the tax credit as like, here so they can picture in the mind of maybe like going on a vacation or something like that with the money, or doing upgrades on their house. And then you're using that as an opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000 per referral so that we can get extra money in your pocket and you can do more stuff with it. I really like that. That's really smart.
And then I'll say a lot of times things like, hey, do you know anybody with an electric bill? I mean, really, that's like, do you know anybody with an electric bill?
Right.
Another line that I've been using lately is I'll be like, oh, your house is beautiful. When did you buy it? And what did you rent a house before this? What made you make a decision to go from renting a house to buying a house? Right. And then when they tell me that, then I'll be like, well, great. And now today you're going to make a decision to quit renting your electricity and owning it.
Right. No, I love that. So during this presentation, do you ever have to get into like what panels you're using, what inverters you're using, what racking, like?
I do tell them that. Yeah, I tell them that. And then I say, and I'm going to send you, don't worry, we don't have to get super geeky with it, because when we hang up here, I'm going to send you spec sheets on it. I'm going to send you info on our warranty. I'm going to send you everything that you want. And I'll have the spec sheets pulled up. And I'll be like, this is what the spec sheets look like. I can read them to you right now, or I'm just going to send them off to you, okay. Because really, I found the main thing that they're concerned about is, are they black on black? What are they? I don't want the blue ones.
Right. It look good.
Yeah. So they're really more concerned, I feel like, about that. Like, how are they going to look?
Are you showing pictures during the presentation, like on your Zoom? Are you pulling up like everything, so you're highlighting all of this so you can use references?
Yep. So, and my different tabs that I have open, I'll have those different tabs open so it's easy to get there, so they can see the spec sheets, everything I'm going to be sending them. They can see them. And then my solo proposals, I think it's about 8 pages long. So it's almost the presentation itself, especially if you put on that front end, the kill the bill section, then the proposal, and then having the spec sheets there to send them to them.
So you pull up their bill on Zoom so that you guys can look at it together and go over all the different charges. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and then a lot of times I'll you know, with a Photoshop kind of thing, I'll circle things, arrows. So they're really, especially depending on the utility company, we can show them, you know, their different fees for delivery charges, fuel charges, and things like that.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So, and then when they're like, okay, we're ready to go, what would be your next step? You're just like, okay, well, let's get how do you transition into the credit check?
So then once we're moving forward and I've got the referral thing going, I let them know. So we have a bunch of different lending options. Some people prefer to pay with cash. Other people get really excited about zero down. You know, it's very similar to buying a car. So we have a lot of adult decisions to make here together. And what we can do is we can kind of look at some numbers. So, you know, Glenn, are you thinking cash or are you thinking zero down? What are you feeling there?
Well, I'd rather keep money in my pocket if I can for right now, but I'd rather do the zero down.
Okay, perfect. And then are you a person that likes to pay a lower interest rate? So maybe your loan might be a little bit more, but you're going to pay a lower interest rate, so your monthly payment might be less. Or are you a person that wants to pay the loan off real quickly, you know, 7 or 10 years, or what kind of?
What kind of options do you have?
So I have one of everyone's favorite, again, buying a car, similar. It's going to make your monthly payment less, but it's going to take longer to pay it off. So it's a 20-year 0.99. So people love that less of an interest rate. If that's something you're interested in doing, we can run your credit for it. It requires a little nicer of a credit score than some of my other loan options. Do you feel that your credit's going to be above 650? We can just pre-qualify you if you want.
Yeah, I think it should be.
Okay, perfect. And then I pre-qualify them and do everything right on my computer in front of them. And then once they see that, they see the payments, then I personally show them the cash option just so that they can see that big difference there. And then, so I'd say, Glenn, this is where I have you right now. You're at a $40,000 loan. Your monthly payments are $150. You know, would you like to look at the cash option just to see what a difference it is? Because we do give a cash discount.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'll run the cash numbers, and then usually they'll get really excited about that lower loan amount, because then all of a sudden they're like, whoa, that last one was 40,000 and this one's only 30,000. And then I say, that's why a lot of people go with cash, but I do have one more option. It's a Loan Pal. It's 7-year. It's a higher interest rate, but it's going to give you the same price as the cash. So your monthly payment is going to be more, but you're going to pay the system off in 7 years, and you'll see the price difference. So I usually give them the 3 options.
Okay, I like the way that you do that too, because instead of being like, oh man, you're paying this huge dealer fee, no, it's like, this is a cash discount. And then you're saying, and then also we can do a real high interest for the same cash discount price. So you're painting that picture in their head, which I've never thought about doing.
Yeah, and I'm sure I bet everybody on this mastermind probably has access to lending programs like this. So that one it's Loan Pal for me. It's a Loan Pal 7-year 6.99.
Right, and there's no dealer fee on that one, right?
No.
Yeah, that's huge.
But then, yes, their monthly payments doubled, but now they see an end date because it's 7 years out. And right. They can see they got that cash discount because we can't legally ever call it a dealer fee. So this is like my way of helping them a little economics 101.
Right. No, I like that. And they still could choose the more expensive one if they want to. It's still there, if they want to choose that one. So yeah. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing all these golden nuggets. This is really good. I have a real hard time closing on Zoom, and I think this is going to help me a lot. I'm more of in person, they can't kick me out till I'm done type of deal. But I have an easier time getting off of a Zoom call and be like, oh yeah, we can follow up tomorrow type of deal. But the main thing that helps you the most is sticking on there, making sure that you're getting the credit qualification done that day. If they say I need to think about it, do you have any tips and tricks on how you'd overcome that?
So I allow my people to think about it as long as they want. I
Okay.
am not a close instantly on a Zoom.
Right.
Um, and so I just say, a lot of times I'll say, so this is how this, I just assume the sale. So, all right, so it's a pretty easy process. We're going to get you qualified. Oh, boom, you're qualified. You're ready. So this is the steps with solar is today we're going to agree that we're going to work together. All right. So I'm going to send you the lending documents first. You're going to fill out all of those. They're going to arrive in your email. Then I'm going to send you our solar agreement that says you're ready to move forward to the next step in solar. The next step is site survey. If anything comes up in that site survey that's going to change your price or anything, we don't need to move forward with this any longer if it doesn't make sense for you.
Right.
But after site survey, if the numbers make sense, then we'll go ahead, we'll go take care of all the permitting for you, and then we'll get the solar system installed. Hopefully we can get you saving money by the summer.
Okay. So you're just assuming it and you're telling them the process as far as like, this is the next step. This is just common. Like, let's just move on to the next step.
Yep. If for some reason they say, okay, well, I really need to I just need to think about it. I'm like, no problem. I understand this is a decision, like I said earlier, a major one about your car, and you might not have just bought your car. You might have thought about it, you know? So if you have any questions, feel free to text me. And then why don't we meet again tomorrow and I can make sure to answer your questions. And you can either, again, text me your questions or save them up, write them up. Let's meet tomorrow at the same time. And then what I'll do is then I start texting them info. I'll go find nasty stuff on their utility company, you know, or I'll send them a cool video, like the top 10 questions about solar. I send that one all the time. I'm like, yeah, you know, a lot of other people have a lot of questions too. So what I did was I made a video with the top 10 questions of solar. I'll send that to you. Another tip I do, I always, like anybody that's in the home, you try to always have both husband and wife there, both decision makers.
Right.
If for some reason I can't, what I do is I let them know that we'll record the entire Zoom and I'll send it to them so they can review it together with their spouse.
Ah, okay. That's clever. That's a good idea. So, and then the main thing that I took away too is you're planning the follow-up call. So that way it's not like, hey, are you ready to go yet? Hey, are you ready to go yet? Because I've fell into that trap too, where it's like, hey, let's get on a call tomorrow at this time. We'll go over some more of the questions that you have and we can get this started. You're just kind of assuming that part, right?
Yes, I never have an open-ended question. I always assume the sale and take control of it.
Okay.
Tomorrow, and I always try to say the same time because I found that if somebody has a time today and that time slot, it works. If they say no, then I'd say, how about 1 o'clock? I never say what time works best for you because that would mean that I just sit around all day and I have nothing better to do with my life.
Right. Yeah. And people like to work with people that are busy and that have a game plan.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. So that's what I do. And I don't ever push anybody into it. And I am proud to say I've never had a cancellation.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Because I don't push people to it. I mean, whatever. If they don't want to go solar and they just want to be, you know, going solar is like taking an IQ test. You either like are smart and the numbers make sense to you, or you're just dumb. And then I'm never going to be able to get through your thick head anyway.
So what about, do you ever like come across people that are like, hey, I'm going to be shopping your quote and I want to do that? Like, how would you handle something like that?
Oh, yes. When they say that, I say, oh, absolutely. You should definitely do that. You know, think about me like I'm your solar concierge service. I've already went out and shopped. I went and found the best local installer, but by all means, go do that and then get back to me with that price and we'll review it together.
Okay. So you want them to go shop, get a price, and then you want to be able to have the last talk on it, or how does that work? Okay. How do you get them to do that part? Any tips on that?
Again, I just say, oh, absolutely. You should definitely go do that. And then bring back it to me. We'll review it together.
Okay. Because you feel confident you got what they need. Do you ever get into like equipment stuff at that point, or like saying what type of equipment to look for, apples to apples?
So sometimes people will be like, they'll be like, okay, I got it back. my monthly payment's going to be 140. Yours was 150. Okay, awesome. We got to get on that Zoom because we got to compare apples to apples.
Right.
So let's take a look at your equipment to see, maybe they gave you those ugly blue panels because they are cheaper. Let's take a look at what kind of warranty. Did they have a 30-year warranty, shingle to shingle? What kind? Let's take a look to make sure that what you're comparing to is apples to apples.
Right. Okay.
And if it's apples to apples and it's at 140, I will figure out a way to beat that price for you, my friend.
Right. No, that's awesome. Okay. Perfect. Well, I think this was great. Like, I think I would get a lot of information out of this. I have so far. You've taught me a lot, and that's mainly why I like to do this sort of masterminding, is because it's one-on-one. You and I can kind of figure out what's working for you, and I can kind of pick it apart a little bit on what you're doing. And because I think like a solar guy, right? I'm a solar guy.
Right.
So I think this helps a lot for people that are paying attention to this. And do you have any like closing thoughts, or what have you thought so far about what we've done with the mastermind? Is it something you think we should keep doing?
I think you should absolutely keep doing it because everybody has little nuggets. I was not born out of the womb knowing how to sell solar, right? I started in 2016. How did I get to where I'm at today? I surround myself by really intelligent people that know how to sell solar, and I steal their little nuggets, and then I put them together to create my own version. My last bit of tip to leave everybody is, when you're talking on the phone or you're doing online, you have to have your energy shine through. So how do you do that? For me, my little trick is I always listen to my headset super loud. I have pumped up crazy techno dance music. I have a quick dance party. And then literally I'm pacing my house when I'm on the cold call. Like, okay, pacing the house. And then before I get on the Zoom, I totally have a quick dance party before I sit down, because people can feel your energy. And especially if you've had a negative, like, couple naysayers, 3 calls in a row, and you're like, God, I suck at this, like, you gotta hype yourself up, like, have that song that just gets you like, it's go time.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really good advice too. Because I've worked in call centers in the past too, and it's the same idea. Is like, if you can smile on the phone, people can tell you're smiling because it comes through in your voice. And yeah, it's. Oh, sorry about that. The time out of your day, I know you're busy. You're always killing it. You got lots of people you work with. So I hope to have you on again in the future, and let me know what type of things I may be able to help you out with in the future on stuff as well. We'll stay in contact on this, and I'll post this recording into the mastermind, so you'll be able to have access to it whenever. If you want to add people in, just let me know, and we can get things rolling.
Perfect. Well, let's unite to get some glass on the roofs, everyone. So the best is ahead. Have a great day.
Heck yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.